In 1513, Ottoman sailor and cartographer Piri Reis did something that even today cannot be clearly explained. He drew the continent of Antarctica on a parchment approximately 300 years before Europeans discovered it, complete with ice-free coastlines. Now imagine this. It's 1513. Christopher Columbus had only just set foot in America. Magellan had yet to circumnavigate the globe, and the known map of the world was laughably incomplete by today's standards. So how did Piri Reis know about that southern continent, that icy, dark, and unreachable Antarctica? At the bottom of the map, in his own handwriting, he noted, "I compiled this map from 8 Ptolemaic maps, 4 Portuguese maps, and the personal map of Christopher Columbus." So there is a confession right there. This knowledge goes further back, much further back. And it is precisely at this point that official history begins to fall silent, because if the sources Piri Reis referenced truly existed, the people who drew those maps must have seen Antarctica before the ice. And accepting that ice has been there for the last 6,000 to 12,000 years, this takes us back to the final stages of the last ice age, perhaps even before it. And during that period, according to everything we have been taught, there was no civilization capable of global maritime exploration. None. At least not according to official history. In 1960, Colonel Harold Z. Ohlmeyer of the United States Air Force Cartographic Service officially stated in a letter to the Library of Congress, "The geography of this region largely corresponds to the topography beneath the Antarctic ice, as revealed by seismic surveys conducted in 1949. An American military officer officially confirmed that an Ottoman map matched the geography hidden beneath Antarctic ice, and the world largely ignored it. But why? Because taking this question seriously brings with it other far larger and far more uncomfortable questions. What if those maps truly predate the ice? Who drew them? What civilization, what ship, what navigator was sailing those southern waters? And why is there nothing left of them today? Modern technology is pressing harder and harder on these questions. Satellite-based radar scans and SAR, or synthetic aperture radar imaging technology. Conducted beneath Antarctica's ice sheet in 2024 and 2025, revealed continental coastlines, riverbeds, and even remnants of shallow bays beneath the ice. Yet these structures were not geological formations millions of years old, but rather traces of a relatively recent warm climate. Now imagine this. On a continent where temperatures today drop to 50 degrees below zero, rivers once flowed, trees once grew, and perhaps people once lived. And Piri Reis somehow learned of this, or at the very least, someone who knew of it was there long before him. Now let us get to the heart of the debate, because in every good mystery there is also an official voice, someone who dismisses findings, closes questions, and stands guard before the archives. When it comes to the Piri Reis map, this voice most commonly puts forward the argument, the map is a projection error, the extension of South America has been misinterpreted. But here is the problem. Even within that theory, there are certain things that remain unexplained. Mountain ranges marked on the map that were not known until the International Geophysical Year of 1958. Those mountains lay hidden beneath Antarctic ice and were only revealed through seismic measurements. How did Piri Reis draw mountains buried beneath ice? When independent researchers raise this question, the answer is usually either coincidence or deep silence. And that silence is sometimes the most powerful answer of all. Let us step back one tick further and ask, where and how did Piri Reis obtain this information? According to his own writings, he based his work on the lost scrolls of the Library of Alexandria, ancient Phoenician maps, and mysterious Portolan charts that had come into Columbus's hands. Columbus himself had left notes claiming to possess a legendary map before he ever discovered the Atlantic, as though he already knew where he was going. And scholars who have researched and analyzed Columbus's library have found indirect evidence that he had access to ancient sources. So what emerges is the following chain. An ancient source, whose identity we do not know, mapped Antarctica in its pre-ice state. This map was copied, passed on, perhaps broken into fragments over the centuries. Some of those fragments reached Columbus. Piri Reis then combined these pieces with 8 Ptolemaic maps and produced that famous work in 1513. And now we, 500 years later, are step by step confirming through sub-ice radar what that map was saying all along. To be living through this moment in history, it is truly spine-chilling. So who could this unknown civilization have been? Here we enter speculative waters, but speculative waters supported by scientific data. At the peak of the last ice age, approximately 20,000 years ago, sea levels were 120 meters lower than they are today. This means that coastlines now submerged were at that time wide, habitable plains. Independent researchers such as Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, though mainstream academia regards them with caution, argue that a cosmic impact or major geological catastrophe at the onset of the Younger Dryas period, approximately 12,800 years ago, may have wiped out existing civilizations. This theory is no longer entirely dismissed. A 2018 study published in Nature showed that the Hiawatha crater in Greenland dates to approximately this period, a meteorite impact crater 31 kilometers in diameter hidden beneath the ice. And if an advanced seafaring culture existed at that time and was destroyed by such a catastrophe, what would remain? Perhaps some survivors, perhaps some copied maps, perhaps some oral traditions, including the story Plato recorded as Atlantis. It is at this point that history, legend, and science become entangled with one another, and official academia is still not ready to untangle this knot. But technology is not waiting. Right now, around the time this video is being published, researchers working over Antarctica continue to map structures beneath the ice. In some regions, hollow areas, surfaces with regular geometry, and traces of river erosion are being observed. Whether these are purely the product of natural geology or structures once touched by human hands, there is as yet no definitive answer. But the questions are growing ever more powerful. And science, however reluctantly, will sooner or later be forced to answer them. Piri Reis was executed in 1554, in the final years of his life, following a defeat in a naval battle. A man who had served the Ottoman state, sailed the world, and drawn history's most mysterious map, absorbed into history with the fate of an ordinary political victim. His map, meanwhile, waited silently in the storerooms of Topkapi Palace for 400 years, until a German historian found it among dusty shelves in 1929. 400 years. Perhaps some truths prefer to wait until the world is ready to understand them, and perhaps we, right now, stand on the threshold of that readiness. Stay curious.